Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Jan Blachowicz and Israel Adesanya. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so we've got a big fight coming up here, UFC 259 main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya. In the era of the champ, we've got another man trying to move up a weight division and hold two belts concurrently. Israel Adesanya currently holds a belt in middleweight 185. He has cleaned out the division, trying to jump up to 205 light heavyweight and get that belt as well. Gotta be honest, I really like this fight. I think it's going to be a good one. We've got two guys who bring it all the time. I mean, we're going to write off that one fight against Romero. We're going to say that was just an outlier. But both of these guys bring the heat. Both of them show up. They actually both like to stand up, so I expect it to be striking. I think this is going to be a really good fight. Now let's start out, take a look at the champ at 205, Jan Blachowicz. Now, like I was saying, he's a striker. He's got some credentials in Muay Thai, kind of back right around the same time that he started MMA. And it's true, he does hold a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's got some submissions on his record. When he's on his back, we've seen him try to throw some submissions up. He's definitely aggressive and goes for it. He's even used a few takedowns here and there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the man's a striker. He's going to try to keep it on the feet. The odds of him trying to take it down or Adesanya trying to take it down, I don't know, almost none. I expect this to be a stand-up affair. Now, when it comes to his stand-up, there's a few things that are really good, okay? On the one hand, he's got a great jab. I really like the way he uses his jab to control distance. He's very aggressive, but at the same time, he doesn't necessarily have to be on the front foot. It seems like he actually prefers to fight going backwards more often than not. But he utilizes that jab really well while he's going backwards, right? Because you got a guy who's a counterpuncher. He's going to need his opponent. For him to be at his best, he's going to need his opponent to come forward. He's going to need his opponent to be aggressive, okay? And if your opponent can stay at distance and just light you up with the jab or low kicks or something like that, it's not really going to help you out as a counterpuncher. So the fact that Blachowicz can be at distance and score with the jab and still kind of control the fight, keep his opponent off balance, works out great for him because that forces his opponent to kind of try to change things up because it's not working at distance. He's getting hit with the jab. So now he's got to come forward. And as soon as he tries to get aggressive, as soon as he tries to come forward, Jan's there with his counterpunching. Particularly that left hook. He throws it really well. He's got good timing on that counter left hook. Utilized it a lot. I like it. And he sets it up well. Also puts him in a position where if he's been backing up, you see him against the cage. That's sometimes when he'll really open up with combinations. He's backing up a little bit, sees his opening, tries to throw that counter left hook in there, and then at that time, he'll even open up with some more shots. He's got really good power. When he hits guys, he hurts them. You know, you look at what he did to Corey Anderson with that right hand. You look at what he did to Dominic Reyes with that left hook. I mean, he hits guys, he gets them out of there. It's interesting. You look back at his record. You know, he comes into the UFC with a win, but then he goes ahead and loses 4 of his next 5. But ever since then, he's continually been improving his game. He's continually tweaked things and made changes. And he's just ran off a bunch of victories up to and including his last one against Dominic Reyes to earn this belt. All that being said, he does have some flaws in his game. Okay, one of the things that I have always disliked about his striking game, and he still does to this day, is how much he keeps his chin in the air and how much he keeps his head on the center line. Like, he is stiff out there. Okay, he does not have great movement. He's kind of, you know, he moves on his feet halfway decent. He can kind of close distance and stuff, all that, you know, but he is not going to be moving at the waist much. He's not going to move his head much. He is just there to be hit. And, you know, he's been able to eat most of the shots the guys throw at him, right? He's got a good chin, but at the same time, that can only last so long. And he's eating a bunch of punches. More and more fights are adding up. He's getting older in his career. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I also don't like the fact that he puts so much into every shot. I mean, he's got really good power. He hits guys, he hurts them, he can put them out of there. But at the same time, I've seen his gas tank get tested. I've seen him huffing and puffing after like the first and second round. And it's because he throws every shot with bad intentions. That works out great when you're going there and tear a guy's face off. But when you're not, man, that can really come back to bite you. And then on the other side, we've got Israel Adesanya, the man moving up from 185 to 205. Now, I'm a huge fan of Israel Adesanya. I've really liked him for a long time. Stormed through the middleweight division, continuing to challenge himself and move up. What I love about him is, honestly, he can do it all. Same type of thing, prefers striking, comes from a kickboxing background before he moved over to MMA. Really good takedown defense. He likes to keep it on the feet. Again, I don't think this one is going to end up going to the mat. Neither man really prefers it to be there. It's not their specialty. As a striker, he has everything available to him. He's got great kicks. He can go high and low with them. He's got fights out of both stances. Great jab, great right hand. He can lead. He can counter. He can fight going forward. He can go backwards. Man, he can be patient. He can be aggressive. He really, truly just has it all. And on top of that, I also think he's one of those guys that once he won the belt, it just stepped his game up. You know, it was just that mental thing where he looked, he has the belt now, and he's like, I'm the champ, and this is the way the champ does things. And I just feel like he came out there against Whitaker, he wins the belt, and he just immediately stepped his game up a level. You know, I was so impressed with that performance against Costa. You know, you think about it, Paulo Costa, big, aggressive guy, wants to get into exchanges, wants to hit you with these hard shots. What does Adesanya want to do? He wants to be the counterpuncher, right? In the Bull and the Matador, he wants to be the Matador there. So he's on the outside, and he is just tearing his leg apart with those kicks. Just hitting him in the calf, hitting him in the knee, lighting him up, making Costa come forward until he just, in beautiful fashion, does what we have seen him do numerous times before, up to and including when he won the belt against Whitaker, counters the jab with that left hook. Just slides his head a little bit out of the way, gets off that center line, misses over the top with the right, but comes back with a beautiful left hook, gets him out of there. We saw it against Whitaker, as I mentioned. We saw it when he got it with the knockdown at the end of the first round. He tried to counter the jab with the left hook and ended up doubling up with the right. And then we saw it when he eventually scored that knockdown in the second and got him out of there. When again, countered the jab with the left hook, finished him off. I mean, the timing on those counter shots that Adesanya has, there's something beautiful. And we've seen him continually step his game up, even against a striker like Gastelum. The question is, with all those things that he's been doing, as good as he's looked, you know, he's got a few flaws in his game as well. For instance, sometimes I feel like he gets a little bit too aggressive. Sometimes I think he steps forward a little bit too much, puts himself in harm's way to be able to land his counter shots. Because that's one of the things that he likes to do is he doesn't really like to get off to the side, doesn't like to create an angle when he's landing his counter shots. I mean, he'll move his head a little bit, but he likes to stay in the pocket. Whereas a guy like Jan, for example, he likes to take a half step back, kind of work an angle when he's getting his counter shots off. So just a different way that they approach the style of their counter punching. But the question is, what's all that going to look like when they step in the octagon on Saturday night, right? Both these guys got their strengths, their pros, and their cons, but what's it going to look like when they step in there and they match up? And this is an interesting one. This really is an interesting one because Adesanya's got the speed advantage. So right away, I think when they're at distance, he's going to have the advantage there. I really like that low kick that he just worked against Costa. I think that's going to work out beautifully for him against Jan when he utilizes it. He counters the jab beautifully, and that's what Jan loves to use when he's at distance to kind of control the range and keep his opponent off balance. So I think that kind of plays into Adesanya's favor. But at the same time, Adesanya likes to step forward. He likes to get into the pocket. He likes to exchange. Make no mistake about it, he is not only the smaller man in this fight by stepping up to 205, but he wasn't known for his power at 185. And he's fighting a very powerful man at 205. Who's to say how much Blachowicz is going to come in there and even respect the power that Adesanya brings to the table? What if he decides, I just want to step forward, I want to step into the pocket, I'm going to let him counter this jab because I really want to get this right hand off. You know, I don't care if he counters it. I really want to get this left body kick off, and he just starts trying to hammer it home into Adesanya's ribs early. Not worrying about what Israel comes back with, hoping to get into an exchange because he feels like, he can be able to get that uppercut off. He's going to be able to get his own left hook off and hurt him. There's a few wrinkles to this fight that I think are very interesting because on the surface, Adesanya is more flashy. He's definitely got more speed. You think about him as having the length and being able to control the distance and be more explosive and move in and out. But what Jan brings to the table is solid. He's a very tactical, sound fighter. So there'll be a lot going on here. However, at the end of the day, I'm going to give this one to Adesanya. I do think that he's going to be able to pull it out. I think that the precision and the timing that he has on those counter shots is going to make a big difference. I think that the way Jan builds the majority of his game is off of his jab. When you look at it, that's really what he needs. That's really what he utilizes the most. And that's actually what Adesanya excels at taking away. His timing and his head movement and his counter shots, particularly his own left hook, he's got a whole set of his game built for taking away his opponent's jab. And when you do that and when you're good at that, man, it really throws a guy off. And I really think that that's going to be a key factor in him winning this fight. From the outside, I expect him to win with speed, land those low kicks. If Jan tries to get off those big body kicks himself, I expect Adesanya to counter those, probably with like a straight right. But I think speed's going to end up being what wins the day. I think that Adesanya is also going to have the better work rate. He's an assassin, man. And once he gets Jan in trouble, if he feels Jan start to slip at all, if his gas tank just starts to go even a little bit, I expect Adesanya to crank up the pressure, put Blachowicz back against the cage, and really be able to start to tee off. Will he be able to get him out of there by like the 4th or 5th round? Maybe. He's good that way. It'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Both men are very dangerous fighters. Wouldn't be surprised however it turns out, but I'm definitely leaning towards Adesanya in this one. Let me know what you guys think. Is Israel going to be able to become the champ in this one, move up, take the belt? Or is Blachowicz going to tell the smaller man that he needs to stay down at 185? Let me know what you guys think.